S&P 500 and NASDAQ are falling from records as investors rotate out of big tech. And this move lower coming after inflation cooled further in June. So what does this mean for tech winners like NVIDIA and Microsoft? Cory Johnson, the Futurum Group Chief Market Strategist, is joining us now. Cory, it's great to see you as always. So one of the questions that Josh and I have been debating throughout the day, and then again at the top of the show, was whether this is just sort of a one-day blip as we see yields pull back a lot, or whether this is the beginning of a bigger rotation. What do you think?
Well, I think that there is some nervousness among investors who piled into some AI-related stocks, NVIDIA chief among them, about the valuations, about the growth, about the change in the share price over a short period of time, and what might take the wind out of that sail. And indeed, might it be a change in inflation rate and maybe a reaction from a Fed that clearly wants to cut? I think that was certainly my takeaway from Jerome Powell this week, was that he wants to cut. And so when we get the inflation data we got today, maybe that just gives them just enough wiggle room to get there to start cutting. And does that change the underlying environment in which the AI stocks have risen, and therefore they don't rise as much and maybe a little comes off the table? On top of the Goldman Sachs note that I think has been really widely discussed and disseminated across Wall Street on an otherwise slow week, to think about, hey, if we spend $1 trillion in investment in AI, when are we going to get the $1 trillion back in a return in our businesses and our economy?
And Cory, it's funny that you bring up that Goldman Sachs note. I'm glad you did. I thought it was really thought-provoking.
I'm here to help.
And among other things, one of the data points that the note brings up is the number and percentage of firms in the U.S., and this includes firms of all sizes, that are using AI in their daily business or that are trying to. And it's not high, even not high among computing companies. It's a small number. So do you think that that is a valid concern here, that we're putting all of this into AI, all this investment into AI, when is it going to bear some fruit?
Well, and we've done studies at Futurum Group polling corporate customers, talking about these very issues. And they say they want to spend and they intend to spend a lot more. But I think they're still figuring out what they're going to do with AI and where it can help their processes. But I think that, and the Goldman Sachs note, again, it is very thought-provoking. But I think one of the fallacies that the negative criticism in the note has is that the things that we do now with our computing will be the things that we do later with AI-driven computing. And I think that that's just wrong. I think it's hard for us to imagine the things that we'll be doing with AI. I was at SemiCon West this week, which is a big conference that is really about the manufacturing of semiconductors. And it pulls together a lot of the biggest and most interestingly, a lot of the small companies that do the work that makes semiconductors of all types. And there was a lot of discussion about AI, not driving demand, but about changing processes. How can we how can we fix our plumbing, literal plumbing? How can we change our water usage by using the data that we get and processing it through AI in ways that weren't time efficient in the past? And how can we change our staff so they're fixing things before they break, because AI tells us what's going to break, in ways that we never would have done so because the calculations were just too time consuming to do. There are things that AI will let us do that we've never done before. And they might not be sexy things like writing your term papers on ChatGPT, which are easy to understand, but there'll be weird, different things that we've never done before. And I think that is where the revenues and the profits, and indeed the GDP changes that the AI will come eventually. We just don't know what those are right now.